my name is Rachel Shilaba.
My name is Vincent Curry.
My name's Michaela Anthony.
And my name's Lex Rivera.
So our second slide is our table of contents. Today, we'll be talking about the origin of plastics, plastic production, plastic pollution, what are microplastics, the chemistry behind microplastics, microplastics in companies, the environmental impact, some solutions, the summary, and then our last slide is going to be our references.
Okay, so to start us off, we're going to talk about the history of plastics. So plastics is a word that originally meant pliable and easily shaped. Plastic also gradually became a word used to describe that which was cheap, flimsy, or fake. The first synthetic polymer was invented in 1869 by John Wesley Hyatt, who was inspired by a New York firms who offered $10,000 for anyone who could provide a substitute for ivory. And in 1907, Leo Baekeland in fact invented Bakelite, and that was the first fully synthetic plastic. This meant that it contained no molecules found in nature. During World War II, plastic production in the United States increased to 300%, and that continued straight after that. They put plastic in cars, paper, glass, packaging, wood, and furniture. So plastic production. Plastic production keeps growing at a rapid pace. Since the large-scale introduction of plastic after the Second World War, a total of 8.3 billion metric tons have been produced. The world production of plastic increased from 2 million tons in 1950 to 380 million tons in 2018. I have a graph that shows that if the current trends continues to go like how it's going right now, by the year 2050, there will be about 12 billion tons of plastic in landfills and in the environment. So what is the issue? The current issue is plastic pollution. So researchers have found that plastic pollution across the world, that there has been plastic pollution across the world. That's what research have found. This causes problems for the marine life and pollutes our natural habitats. So what we know are that plastic accumulates in ocean graves. So over time, trash from the coastlines will be moved via the currents, and eventually they accumulate in like a calm center that's known as the gray. So it's an area in the ocean that all the plastic comes together and form one. The second point is the marine debris can harm the ocean life. So it harms the ocean life by destroying the natural habitat. There's chemical pollution, there's animal entanglement and animal ingestion. And the third point is that a lot of the ocean debris are microplastics.
So what are microplastics? They can be defined as extremely small pieces of plastic with a diameter of less than 5 millimeters. And there are two prominent classifications for microplastics. You have primary and secondary. So primary is produced for external human use, and the sources of these microplastics come from residues of cosmetics, paints, detergents, and manufacturing waste. Secondary microplastics are the result of the breakdown of large plastic debris. So basically, this comes from large plastics, manufactured goods, clothing, and natural calamities like flooding. So for microplastics in companies, 87% of products from the 10 best-selling cosmetic brands contain microplastics. And over 20 companies produce 50% of single-use plastics that end up in waste worldwide. And these companies include ExxonMobil, which produces 5.9 million tons of global plastic waste, and they are closely followed by the Dow Chemical Company, which is based in the US, and the Sinopec chemical company, which is based in China. So how does like the chemistry behind microplastics work? So they consist of carbon and hydrogen atoms, and they're bound together in polymer chains, like you can see in the image below. And so microplastics will typically contain synthetic chemicals like phthalates, polybrominated diphenyl ethers, and tetrabromobisphenol A.
How do microplastics impact the environment? Microplastics are harming our environment. Because of all the plastic pollution, plastic cannot break down entirely, so therefore these microplastics are getting into the ocean. These microplastics are then ingested by marine life, which is slowly killing them off, because microplastics can also absorb toxic contaminants like runoff from agriculture or even municipal runoff from everyday businesses. These are impossible to avoid because of the plastic production in the US. And not only do these microplastics harm our marine life, they also harm us when we eat the marine life. These microplastics that we ingest are extremely harmful. Our bodies are not made to process these microplastics, therefore they just stay in our bodies. And since these microplastics can absorb toxic contaminants, we have no clue what they're doing to our health because there's no studies on what it can do. One of the solutions for fixing the problem with microplastics is starting to switch to reusable containers and bags. When we cut out some of the main uses for plastics, we can help eliminate microplastics in our environment. Using canvas totes in grocery stores and reusable jars for any other goods like detergents, food, really anything could help solve the problem with microplastics.
So some more solutions that we can do in our everyday life are don't microwave food and plastic, buy plastic-free cosmetics, regularly dust and vacuum, and invest in having water filters, such as like the Brita water filters. Other things that we can do to remove plastics from the environment are chemical treatments, filtration, biological removal, ingestion. And then one of the most interesting solutions that I found to control plastic microfibers and stop the spreading of so much microplastics, since they're practically everywhere, is through the use of the Cora ball. The Cora ball is an oddly shaped recycled plastic that goes directly into a washing machine, and it is said to capture around 26% of sewer-bound microfibers.
Unless we decide to change the way we use plastics, microplastics will harm not only our oceans, but humankind as well. The rate of plastic use in America is growing at an alarming rate, and soon enough, there will be no marine life. Consuming microplastics is extremely harmful, and who knows what could happen to us within the next 10 to 15 years if the plastic production rates get any higher.
And this is just all of our reference slides for our PowerPoint, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.